All right. Welcome, everybody, to a very special Hybrid Health Summit 2023 Metabolic Mentor podcast. I am here live in Miami interviewing people of greatness that have stood on the stage for our Hybrid Health Summit. And while I had everybody, I'm actually interviewing all of them post their speech. And today I have actually a really, really special guest. As you know, on the Metabolic Mentor podcast, we like to talk about incredible transformations of greatness, whether it be in health, in entrepreneurship, in medicine. And today I get to introduce someone who I admire and respect and is actually now a colleague of mine, the wonderful, amazing Dr. Carrie Jones. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, Vince, thank you so much. I'm so excited.
You're going to have to forgive me. I'm losing my voice.
I can be
going for a 3-day extravaganza.
Oh my gosh, it's been all out play for 3 days.
The Hybrid Health Summit has been an experience that has changed my life. And you can feel it in the room.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a movement now.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you could be here to feel it, but I'm just so impacted. And then to get to pull you away and steal just 20 minutes of your time to pick one part of this ever-evolving brain of how many years now? 20?
A while.
30.
20-something, 24?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dr. Carrie Jones has such a vast career and so many accolades, and starting as a doctor of naturopathic medicine, and moving into getting into the experimental laboratory space.
Yeah, at the time it was, yeah.
And then it coming to the predominant force that it is today, and then to continue to move on and become a face of one of the largest labs providers for practitioners in the country. And you've had this rise, not just in the medical space, but also on social media. You're one of the few that can speak to the people and to the doctors. That's why you've always had my heart. It's been incredible to watch you. And so I want to talk about this. We could talk about the medicine, which you're great at, but I actually want to talk about the person. And I want to understand how you made that happen. How are you able to reach the people on social media and build such a large following, which I call the Carrie Army? I'm going to build and carry.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. But then also reach all the doctors the way that you have. And so could you kind of take us back a little bit to take us forward?
Yeah, my gosh, I have been on Instagram pretty much from the beginning. So I guess a decade. How long has Instagram been around?
Yeah. So you went doctor first.
I went doctor first.
Instagram second.
Oh yeah, because I'm 24 years in this space. So Instagram wasn't around that long ago, right? So doctor first, had a practice. So that's where I really learned to talk to my patients. And I really learned that a lot of patients get talked to in language they don't understand. Big time medical terms, research words, pharmaceuticals. I don't know what that means. I know what the labs mean. They don't know what these huge words mean. And when I would explain it to them, they were like, no one's ever said that to me before. And a light bulb clicked and I thought, well, man, I have to make sure it's my duty that whatever I'm teaching them, explaining to them, educating them, they have to understand it. They have to understand it at the most basic level so they can go home and tell their family, their spouse, their kids, here's what's going on. And the snowball went from there.
That has been your, I think the key of you. You meet people right where they're at. And your clear communication at their level, even though you think at this level, has, I think, been the key to success, because I immediately connected with you when I was going as a health coach and struggling to get access to laboratory, because I knew we needed it, but I couldn't get a hold of it as a health coach, as I wasn't recognized as a provider. And I watched all your videos religiously on Dutch Test, trying to learn.
Yeah.
I stayed up like all night, and you provided so much and so much clarity, and you spent so much time, and you had so much grace. Like, you slowed down to give time to catch up to you.
Yeah.
And so between you and I think many of your followers feel this way, I got to know you. So I've known you a really long time.
I just don't know it yet.
Yeah, you didn't know it.
Yeah.
I kind of grew up with.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's a reverence that maybe you're not, like, where that's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know, because you helped me understand labs in a way that helped me change tens of thousands of lives.
Yeah.
And I know that people are watching this feel the exact same way I do, because every health coach I talk to says, I've listened to Carrie Jones for 3, 4, 5 hours on different podcasts, on the precision analytics website.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
walk me through, you're a provider. You start reaching people on the simple level and you say, I'm going to translate this to Instagram and try to spread the message. Take me through that journey.
I actually had to get a lot of training in just self-study on social media, how to approach social media, how to act in social media, because when you're in medical school or even getting my master's, nobody teaches you how to run a business, how to be an entrepreneur, or how to do social media. Social media wasn't around back then. I mean, Facebook, but really now with Instagram, with TikTok, it's a whole different ballgame. And so I had to do a ton of self-study and really put myself out there, because social media is not easy. It's not always kind. And to just really learn how to be myself, how to get the message across. What I realized is that it didn't matter if you were a mom or an entrepreneur or a coach or a doctor. A lot of the times, everybody was at the exact same level, especially when it came to hormones, which is what I was talking about. So a lot of people were like, I don't understand what that means. And it didn't matter their level of education. And if I could bring it to everybody, then it would only help everybody, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. And I really stand by that statement, because I want another doctor or coach or a mom to hear me and go, all right, I got it. I know what that means. And now I know how to help myself or help my family or teach it, depending what they're doing, and just spread it out there.
The reason I want to talk about this is because great medicine can't translate into good communication, right? And the good communicators aren't good medicine. You ever notice that? The influencer is not the expert,
right?
And the expert is not the influencer. And the number one question I get from doctors all the time is, how do I get on a social media thing?
Yeah.
And then the influencers are like, how do I learn about this thing? Because they're each is trying to get the other side. And the message is only as good as well as it translates, right? Like it could be great information, but if it's not getting to the people, it's not very useful.
The amount of times I would have big name doctors in our field write me privately, because they'd be like, how do you do that? How do you do that thing on Instagram that you do? And I was literally screenshotting and like drawing on my phone, like sending them screenshots. Click here first, then click here, then use this app. So many times, because I just thought we all have to get this message out. And I'm just taking free courses or signing up for courses on how to do social media, how to do Instagram, and learning it trial and error. And so I loved when all these amazing people would write me and go, how did you make that graphic? I'm like, oh, here's the app, right? Here's the thing. Just take it. And then on the flip side, even this weekend at the Hybrid Health Summit, I was up on stage having a very didactic, educational conversation around estrogen. And I was like, you need to be like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Be where people are. So I need you guys to start taking pictures and posting this. Take this slide, turn it into an ebook, turn it into a handout. Make it a questionnaire. Take it. I don't own this material other than, it's like my graphics and my colors and stuff. But I said, take it and get it out there. The whole weekend is giving you great information.
I think the one thing you just said that I think is advice for anyone listening to this, give freely what's been given to you.
Yes, 100%.
Right? Because it'll come in return.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we say we don't want to give unless we get.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is give unconditionally for a while, and then you'll receive.
Yeah.
And so that's another way to put it, is that give them all the information and then have them pay you to organize it.
Yes.
Right? Give them all the information that they want.
Yeah.
And I think doctors are afraid to do that. They reach out to them.
Everyone is. Everyone's afraid. Yeah, unless it's like patented or trademarked, I understand that, right? But if you're like reading a study or you're trying to hoard information around something about magnesium or endocrine disrupting chemicals, like, man.
Or you don't want to put the effort in because you feel like it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Yes.
What would you say to that practitioner that's just getting started on?
Don't let fear hold you back. Just be like Nike and just do it.
Perfect. Nailed it. Do you sound perfect? She was on key. One take Carrie, I swear. So, okay, so like you're growing in the race. You jump into Dutch test. I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Dutch test has changed my life. Precision analytical.
I love you.
Noah. You're my friend. You're my old friend. No, it was amazing because Noah and Precision Analytical have been incredible in my career. And there's a story that you told me about being a naturopathic doctor and then getting on the ground floor of the work done with ZRT, which is another form of tissue testing in the form of saliva.
Mm-hmm.
And that was early. Like, they were radical. People don't understand. Deviating from anything serum was
huge, massive.
Yeah. Breaking barriers, And I remember sitting at those ZRT conferences as a young metagenics rep.
I went too.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
That was where I think I first saw you first.
Yeah.
And then, so you got involved there, and then tell me about that.
So ZRT was the initial in the school, the naturopathic school, because it was in Portland. ZRT is in Portland. So ZRT sponsored a lot, did a lot with the school. I was very familiar with the owner. Their medical director, Allison, is a friend of mine. I went to medical school with her sister, Sarah McAllister. And so I was very tied in, and their lab director at the time was Mark Newman. And fast forward several years later, Mark Newman came knocking on my door and he said, I'm no longer with ZRT. I'm creating a dried urine test. I'm deviating from the saliva. People had done 24-hour urine in the jug, and no one had done dried urine, which is very different. So he said, would you be willing to try it? I said, sure. I trust you. I'd followed you for years. I know you. You don't know me, but let's do it. And then I said, I'd really like to learn the lab space. Can I help? And he said, yeah, but I can't pay you. We're a startup. I can't pay you. So for about a year, I did a lot of consulting, just free on the side stuff. And then gradually it built up from there.
But you trusted it. You did it for the love.
Yeah.
And look how much is getting you in return.
Absolutely.
You became the darling in the face of a test now that's changing millions of women.
Millions, which is their goal, to impact as many lives as possible. Yeah.
You've been the face of women peeing on strips.
For a long time. For a decade. But quality, yes.
Okay, so what was that like for you? Because it took off and you took off with it, right?
Yeah. It was the perfect time in my career, just when the door opens, you walk through it. So I had been in practice full time. I was in a very large integrated practice, and things were shifting, unfortunately, for the worse at the practice. And at the same time, Mark at Dutch said, what would it take to bring you on? And so I cut down practice and pivoted to Dutch, and then gradually went to Dutch full time and stopped all practice. So I practiced for a long time before I went full time into Dutch. So it was a natural progression. People always worry, and I understand. I did too. What's the next step, or how will I know? I'm like, you'll know. The door will open, and you will just step through it.
Anyone listening, entrepreneurs listening, for move into the coaching space, or your doctor is going to move into a different part of their career.
Yes.
Start inching your way in, and then you'll know. And take that faith.
And just trust the invisible, right? Trust the process.
Well, you always did it heart first, though.
Yes.
You knew it was where you needed to go. And I really want people to think with their heart and not their head sometimes.
Right. That's hard, though.
It really is.
It's really hard.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But typically in the end, the money will come to you. People say, give me the money and I'll go get the impact. No, just go get the impact and the money will come.
Yep.
If you trust that, then you'll have a career of your dreams that also gives you achievement and fulfillment.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're just stuck with fulfillment.
Yep.
Or achievement.
Achievement. Yeah.
A lot of seminars. A lot of podcasts.
It's been a day. It's been a weekend.
Yeah. And then, so tell me, okay, so everything started rising really, really quickly. And then you made the pivot again.
I did. Yes. So I pivoted. So instead of being all Dutch, all hormones all the time, I wanted to expand. And so I pivoted to Rupa Health. And Rupa is an all lab platform. So I was able to really learn about Lyme disease and GI testing and micronutrient and omega-3 fatty acid and the Dutch test and blood testing. I got to really expand this whole platform for a year, which was wonderful. And their whole mission is to bring root cause medicine to every single person on the planet. And so it was an amazing opportunity for a year. And as much as I loved it, I missed hormones. Hormones is my passion. The endocrine system is my passion. And I love my Lyme disease teachers. And I love my micronutrient teachers. And I love my autoimmune teachers. And I thought, God bless them. I don't want to do that. I want to go back to hormones. And so then you and I started talking and telling me about, what's happening here and the vision and endocrine and MMU, nutrition dynamic and new ethics. And I was like, that's what I want.
And so we have an incredible announcement.
Yeah.
Hey.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Monday morning.
Yeah. Dr. Carrie Jones will actually be coming on. One is medical director, right, over at New Ethics.
Chief Medical Officer.
Yeah.
Chief Medical Officer at New Ethics.
And also the Director of Medical Education.
Yep.
At Metabolic Mentor University.
MMU.
And I had the same experience. I went into medical consulting. I got out of coaching and working with people live and the realness. And I had to go back to my first love and make that jump back. But that journey, I actually learned so much to come back in and be better.
Yes.
And now you are like the labs master. Like you know all the labs now.
And the people, which has been amazing, and the conferences, it was the next step I needed to take and didn't even realize. And so when I did walk through that door, I got all that experience, still love it, absolutely support it. I support my friends who are doing all that. And I'm back to hormones.
Back to hormones. What would you say to anybody who's trying to learn about hormones, any practitioner? Where would you say that they should start?
At the basics. Oh my gosh. So a lot of people will jump into the advanced. They're like, oh, her progesterone's low. What's the one herb or one nutrient that'll raise her progesterone or get us to some sure about allopathic? Completely up
the one or down, right?
Right now.
Give me the one thing, and then I'll take that, and that'll be my prescription for it, right?
But they don't even understand how progesterone's made in the first place. I said, you got to go back to go forward. You have to understand where the cascade of events starts, which is up here, to get down here to the ovaries to get the progesterone out. And if you understand that, just 101 physiology, 101 biochemistry, which is what I'm going to really work hard at teaching and have all over social media in my career, then it gets easier to understand when somebody says, my progesterone's low, what do I do? And it also helps you backtrack to go down rabbit holes or kick over rocks to say, your progesterone's low, but let me ask you all these other questions. Are you sleeping? How are you eating? How's your stress? Have you been exposed to mold? Have you been sick lately? All these things versus, Vince, what's the one herb that raises progesterone? Just tell me the herb. I'm like, if there was an herb, I'd give it to you. I wouldn't hold back. I don't gatekeep.
Right there. The way that you just so eloquently explained it and then gave it life and color, and you kept it simple. Doctors, I hope you're listening. Health coaches, I hope you're listening, because it gives it life so they can understand it. They can understand, then they can achieve. Dr. Carrie, I hope we do many podcasts.
We are.
I want to talk about all kinds of topics. I really wanted to focus on this because it's a side of you I don't think people know about. And I really wanted to announce it to the world. We are going to build the Carrie Army of coaches out there with a wand solving hormone issues.
Yes.
All over the world.
Yes.
At MMU and New Ethics. Dr. Carrie,
I love
it's been a pleasure having you on.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vince.
Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell every time we drop another Metabolic Mentor podcast. This has been another great episode. Thanks for watching.